14 with a guy named Dan Jones. It was very funny. We're planning on going east, and we're going to do that. But, yeah, I've done traveling. I ran around with a guy for about 3 months all over the country through 17 or 18 states. Turned out he was completely full of the shit, but I learned a lot of stuff about how to book rooms and how to entertain audiences of all different kinds. So that was valuable.
Well, that's a good tool to have in your
Absolutely.
box,
you got to have it. You got to have it.
So the Downunder, I mean, any funny stories from the Downunder?
Oh, if you said something specifically I could remember. I can tell you this. Me and a guy named Captain Jason and 2 separate guitarists, Dickie Bill Wagner and Josh Disney, we were all in a band called Chuckle Bucket.
I remember that.
So, we had a lot of fun. What we do is we get up there and make up songs on the spot and just have fun. And we did that for like a year. And I guess what's kind of funny is, well, some of the folks in the band, Jason, were not very musically inclined. And so we'd do our best. After about 6 or 7 months, nobody would even show up to this thing.
No shit.
No shit. For months, nobody showed, and it was I couldn't blame them. It was we did our best, but it wasn't something I'd want to sit through myself.
Yeah.
And they were nice enough to let us keep doing it because nothing else was going on Thursday. So we brought in more people than would have happened if we weren't there.
Well, I mean, you're a good musician, and Disney's actually a very accomplished musician.
Absolutely.
I was pretty impressed.
He's really good. He's good. He's just a drama queen. That's all. But he's really talented. He's one of the most talented musicians I've ever run across. Anyway, one of these nights we're doing this, and we have such a little audience. I see this guy walking by. I'm like, "Hey, we got a free comedy show." And he's like, "Oh yeah." And then I looked and I noticed that he had something on his lip. It looked like some kind of weird silver lipstick. I was like, "Hey man, you got something on your lip?" And he's like, "Oh." And then he left. And it turned out that guy had been huffing paint and just cruising around the back lot behind the Downunder. And Jason, who's also in the band, had a run-in with him. The guy tried to get a ride, and he's like, "Nope, going the other way." And I had no idea when you huffed paint, you got it all over your damn face. I mean, that's pretty obvious, but I've never huffed any paint. So, I was just like, "You got something on your lip?" And he just about pooped himself.
I inadvertently did.
Merci beaucoup.
You ordered a little grub, huh?
Apparently. I'll take it.
All right. They've actually been very good about feeding the comics here, too.
Yes, they have. They were, this club was my favorite club. It still is my favorite club. I'm sad it's closing down, but, I mean, it's nothing. I did as best I could to help out here, but, I'm broke, too, and trying to make my own way in the world, so.
No, they understand, and it's, like I said, that comedy club is such a, it's a tough, we run rooms out east, and they've been slowing down for us. We're going to change our format next year to, instead of doing 8 months in a row, we're just going to do 3 major shows. We're going to do, I think that's what me and Adam have decided, do in October like a Halloween, a December Christmas, and then a Valentine's Day and call it good, and we're going to start looking for other venues in other towns. So if you want comedy in your small town, or if you're relatively close to Colorado, mooseat240.com is my email. You can just pop me a message, and I'll send Kevin Ben out there. We'll book him. And we'll put him in a car.
I will come out as the Frenchman, or I might be from Mother Russia. Or I could be from Scotland. We'll see if I can pull that shite into my bag,
So what'll happen is I will charge you an incredible amount of money. I'll give Kevin very little of it, but I will give him a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and some sodas for the road. I mean, I'll take care of him. Yum. I will be the dirty promoter most people are. And, but you're going to see the French accent.
Oui.
It's coming tomorrow. It's going to be the funny one.
It will be hilarious.
But it will be the Russian with the dead kitty cat head.
That is right. You kill the cat, you put it on your head. This makes very warm hat. Fuck kitty cat. Sorry, I don't mean to swear, but cats, they are holes of the ass persuasion. That is the Russian Christopher Walken. I don't know.
I don't know. I was just letting you go, buddy. But hey, we're gonna wrap up with you. We're gonna bring on the next comic. Like I said, we got a ton of them out there, so we're gonna try and get everybody some time here on the Juggernaut Brothers podcast. Thanks for coming on, Kev.
Yeah.
How do I find you online?
Oh, yes. You can go to my Facebook page, like Page French Accent, or my website, www.hanbonjovi.com.
All right. Check him out on hanbonjovi.com.
Yes, sir.
Or on Twitter. You on Twitter? You on Twitter?
Yeah, I think I'm French Accent on Twitter.
You need to do Twitter, but Twitter's where it's at.
Yeah, I got some friends on Twitter, but they're all twits, You'll see what I did there.
Thanks for coming by, Kev.
All right, au revoir.
Later.
And thank you, sir.
No worries. All right, that was Kevin Bennett, that French accent. Now I have a comedian out of Denver, but you aren't from Denver originally.
No, I consider Cleveland home.
Okay, Cleveland. He's a Cleveland guy. Jason Yore on the podcast today. What's going on, Jason?
Not much, just comedy. Saying bye to the Downunder, unfortunately.
Have you done
my favorite stages?
Have you done a lot of work out here?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I unfortunately never got a chance to feature a headline, but got the guest spot when you did.
Yeah,
That was great. Mainly, it's been the mics and whatever shows like this.
Sure,
and it's been fantastic. I love this place. It's one of my favorite stages to work on. So,
well, they're good to young comics. They're young.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Coming out. So, Cleveland, what brought you to Denver, man?
Well, actually, I moved out here from Virginia, and
Wow.
a lot of it was I was living in Richmond, Virginia. That's you're in a scary place where they have a statue of Arthur Ashe with a bunch of kids around him. And a tennis racket in there, like he's about to beat the AIDS into him, and it's just a scary situation.
You just said that out loud. That's what I like. Okay,
yeah,
all right.
But yeah, no, I had to get the hell out of there, and I actually planned on coming out here and going to see you, and then they raised tuition, so I said fuck that, and I was like, great comedy scene though, so let's just keep rolling with that. I started in Richmond, so I just continued here.
What were you going to do? Go to school for?
Geology, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Love some dirt, huh?
Yeah, dirts, rocks.
Okay.
It's the same mental range that I'm already sitting in, so I figured it would work well.
Right.
We'd work well together. Me
That's
and Rocks.
cool. I love these comics I've had on the podcast. I was a little short with a lot of them, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about where did your comedy come from, Jason? What do you talk about on stage? I missed your set tonight because I was back here with Josh doing the podcast.
Yeah, but you didn't miss it when I did the guest spot for you.
That's true.
I'm pretty dirty and offensive.
Yeah.
I've actually had people tell me that I'm probably one of the dirtiest in Denver. The Bob Saget of Denver, I've actually heard a couple of times.
All right.
A lot of it's based in truth. I mean, obviously, as comics, we all kind of embellish a little bit, for the stage.
Sure.
But yeah, I talk about anal penetration, blowing Michael J. Fox, the normal stuff.
Yeah, of course. Who doesn't like that shit? You know what I mean? Come on.
It's a good time. Strap-ons, midgets,
right.
whatever.
Right.
So whatever I fantasize about, I usually bring to the stage. So
tell me a story because you've been doing you worked all over Colorado so far. I mean, you've really been trying making the rounds, right?
Definitely.
You and I had talked earlier. You're telling me a story about a very special show you did. Can we tell that story on here?
Yeah,
okay.
Not a problem. Being that I am as dirty as I am, I landed a show at a swingers club as the MC, which was a great show. It was fun. Everybody on the show did very, very well. And amazingly, even with my dirty comedy with swingers, I still yet got moans and groans from people that were about to fuck. And about a half an hour after I had said what I said in front of a bunch of other people, I didn't understand that at all.
Right.
I had to stop in the middle of the bit. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the show went great. It was a lot of dirty comedy. We went downstairs afterwards, watched people, do what swingers do. It was fantastic. And pretty sure someone dosed my drink.
You were saying that.
Yeah.
Someone drugged you.
I have a feeling it may have been a dude, too, now that I think about it, because there was one dude who was, like, very chatty on the couch when I was sitting next to the Sibian downstairs. Because
the Sibian, the
sex toy, yes.
Yeah, okay, all right.
It's fantastic. I did not get a chance to see somebody on it, though. I was very disappointed. That was
right.
I was hoping for that or a glory hole.
If you're not familiar with it, what it is, it looks like a horse saddle, and women they straddle this thing and it vibrates. Is there a dildo on it or no?
Yeah, it's like a dildo, and then like the inside's got a vibrating mechanism. You can speed it up and slow it down. I'm sure guys have used it too.
Oh, yeah, why not?
Haven't looked up those videos yet. I may do that when I get home.
Well, it's one of those things, Jason. Sometimes you're just going to run into. You know what I mean? Like you're drunk one night, you're surfing
it's that rabbit
porn.
hole.
Yeah,
it's that rabbit hole. I mean, you run into everything from like grannies to people getting stepped on the nutsack with like stilettos. I mean, it's
I call it the porn lottery, man. I just whatever's on, you get on your favorite website and the first video pops up. Well, you know what? That's the lady of the night for you.
What they need is a freaking random switch on those freaking porn sites.
They'll
just
figure
hit
it
the
out.
button, let it go.
They'll figure it out.
You might get bang bust one minute and then bait bust the next. You never know what you're gonna get.
May I ask your age, Jason? How old are you?
Man, unfortunately, I just turned 36 in November.
Oh, I'm 38, man. So it's a great age to be. Yeah, you are old. So how long have you done comedy for? Did you say?
I've been doing it just over 3 years.
So you got like me. You're late in the game. I started when I was 31. So, but that's crazy. That's like athletes. They're 31. That's old in the game. You know what I mean? But I mean, there's a place for it. You know what I mean? And being a dirty comic, do you ever worried sometimes that maybe you're gonna stereotype yourself, or you're gonna limit yourself to the rooms you can do?
Yeah, it's already happened. I mean, the swingers club, obviously, strip clubs, things like that, and it's disappointing. But at the same time, I can only do so much with the way my mentality works.
Right.
I've sat down sometimes and been like, okay, I'm gonna clean it up. I'm gonna try to work some cleaner material. And in the end, I'm either blowing somebody, taking something in the ass, or coming on somebody's face. Like,
it's hard to clean that up. It's hard to clean it up. Yeah.
And it's always at the end. when I'm writing, and then at the end I'm like, why? Every time, why?
Is that what you're comfortable talking about, though?
Oh yeah, I mean, like, it's me.
That's all that counts,
yeah.
man. I mean, if that's you got to do what you want to do on stage. Let me ask. I've asked this question before. Take every comedian in the country, in the world. Now, give me a percentage of comedians that you think are actually doing the comedy they want to do. How many comics are doing what they want to do comedy-wise? And not
top level down? Or?
Top level down, from the guy that's getting on stage for the first time tonight to Louis C.K. What percentage of comedians do you think are doing the comedy they want to do? Like, that they don't... Because some comics... What's true to them. That they're not doing just what works to get paid.
Yeah. I would say... Man, top tier, I think they're all doing what they want to do.
Sure,
but,
sure.
When you get those middle-of-the-road guys, they're road guys. Some of them are headliners, some of them features, some of them do both. I think I'd probably sit about 60, 70% maybe. And then once you get to our level, because nobody's really sure where they want to be.
They haven't found their voice yet.
Yeah, exactly. Especially the younger guys. You know, the younger guys are thinking this is what the people expect, so they're not really true to themselves. I would actually think that more people are true to them, or less people are true to themselves at our level. I'd say maybe like 30, 40%.
Right.
And it's going to be more the older generation because, like, I know who I am. I'm comfortable in my own skin. This is my personality, and you're going to either deal with it or you're not.
Right.
But that's what I'm going to put out there. But then you get some people that are 17, 18, 19, 20, and they're like, well, I like this guy even though this is my mentality, but I want to do comedy like he does.
Sure.
And eventually, you know, they come around to their own personality and do their thing, but it takes some time. So
it does take time. It's tough to find sometimes your voice, Jason. I'm not 100% sure I found mine yet. You know what I mean? And I mean, I like a lot of my material. I do. You know what I mean? But I don't do some of the jokes. I'm not to the point, even after 6-7 years of doing this, I don't do it often enough. But there's times I'm a storyteller by nature. I think all comics are. I think all comedians are just natural storytellers. You know what I mean?
They're always that guy in the group that's kind of running everything and running at the mouth most of the times, especially when they're around non-comedians. So,
who's one of your favorite comics to work with anywhere?
Favorite to work with anywhere, man.
That you've worked with. I mean,
you and Dick Black were great. That was a fun night. That was a really fun night. Dick Black, I mean, actually, like, I've worked with him several times and had a blast. Man, locally, I would say Dick Black. I like Nathan Lund a lot. I haven't done as much work with him as I would like to.
Right.
And then I haven't got to the higher tier guys. I've got to meet Stanhope when he did Downunder.
How was that?
That was great. I mean, he gave me about an hour's worth of advice, like on and off. It was phenomenal.
So you got to hang out with him?
Yeah. Went up, smoked, and had some drinks and
that's cool.
Everything. Yeah, he down here. He gave me a little bit of advice by the bar, and then we went upstairs and kind of like, you know, the comic powwow. Everybody's standing around in a circle, smoking and drinking, and
as he's holding court.
Yeah, pretty much for the most part. And anytime he, after giving me advice, that was right before I did New Faces for Comedy Works.
Okay.
And he basically told me, because I was standing by cleaning it up, and he told me, he's like, don't you ever conform to a crowd or a club. Do what you do. And you know how dirty Stanhope is.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't.
Yeah, and he just doesn't care. And, Lane, that's pretty much where I was going into, but I had the South Comedy Works Club, which is traditionally conservative club, and I was standing by cleaning it up. And he was like, don't ever do that. Do what you feel true to. And so I did. But and obviously I didn't move on. But and when we were upstairs smoking, anytime he'd think of anything, he'd kind of backhand me and be like, oh, and another thing, and he'd start rattling off. But yeah, he was very cool to hang out with, very nice guy, and great advice. Got a lot of good advice.
Well, that's what happens. You have decades of advice. You know what I mean? I mean, it's you forget. I mean, guys like him, I hate to say it, are probably going to forget more things than you and I will ever know.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? I hate to say that, but it's kind of true. I mean,
he's great. He's been one of my favorites for quite a while. So
I mean, do you have any plans to try and start doing some traveling, Jason? I mean.
Thankfully, my day job right now, I kind of set my own schedule. So as long as I get a certain amount of work done, I can actually take off like a Friday and like go take a weekend off. And,
cool.
And there's a couple comics that I'm in talks with right now to maybe start yet another comedy group in the Denver area.
May I ask who you're going to start with?
I'd like to talk to Jake Hamill and Dylan Ames, and I've actually talked to both of them. So we're going to start. We're just obviously in the baby steps of it.
Okay.
But I mean, you have like great groups already, Grolix and Fine Gentlemen's Club, and then you have Sketchy Entertainment has their group.
You want to go next? You want to go next, Dylan?
Speaking of Dylan,
you want to go next? Since we're done with him,
is this mic not working?
Yeah. But I do the one-on-one. You want him to jump in?
Yeah, bring him in.
Yell, Dylan.
Dylan. Fuck Dylan.
All right. Well. Okay.